What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. The highly anticipated day is finally here. I want to go over some of the current data points and things that you need to know from today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So we're about to head into Power Hour. It is currently down to 0.14%. It's been a very volatile day though. So 710 the low, 795 the high. In all honesty though, it's actually trading, the fact that it's still in the sevens is very surprising. So I did mention in my pre-market video, I did sell both calls and puts. So I sold around $6 puts and also $9 calls. And that kind of goes to show the parameters I was even anticipating SoFi to trade within. So a lot of volatility was anticipated. So again, the fact that it's at the sevens is kind of crazy, especially with the results, but I'm going to go over that in a second. 73.4 million shares were traded so far today. 36.9 is the average. A lot of volume, but not a lot coming from institutions. So these are all the transactions occurring so far on the secondary market above $100,000. You did see a ton of buying first thing, basically everything right here. And so that is what drove it high to around that 795. Regrettably, that's where shorts started to increase. I'll kind of cover that in a second, but they are the ones that kickstarted this downtrend right here. At the same time as well, the broader market's been really pulling back, so that didn't really help all in all. But when it comes down to SoFi's earnings, phenomenal. So triple beat, so beat on the revenue, they beat on earnings per share, and also raised a future guidance. So amazing stuff. Member growth 41% year over year, so you couldn't have asked for a better earnings. So I actually did post on Twitter and just asked, what is the bear scenario or bear case from their earnings? And a lot of people had pretty much a very similar answer. The fact that SoFi spoke like a bank and kind of just has been acting like a bank, not as a fintech and as a tech play. So when it comes down to that, that's, I guess, the biggest negative for SoFi. And so when it comes down to it, I've brought this up periodically, but looking at SoFi's PS ratio, of course, SoFi is profitable, so you can kind of look at the PE ratio, but a little bit more simpler to look at the PS given what I'm going to compare it to. So right now, SoFi's PS ratio is 3.5, future is 3.1. So if SoFi is a bank, let's compare it to banks. So Bank of America, 3.4 versus 3.1. You also do have JP Morgan, and my apologies if I do go relatively fast. So this column right here, so the PS ratio for JP Morgan is 3.7, future is 3.6. So in essence, SoFi is kind of trading like a bank, because even if you do look up this right here, so new 13.7 versus 5 for the forecast. So yes, SoFi is kind of being treated like a bank by Wall Street. So that's one of those negative scenarios that I think it falls back down onto Anthony and Chris to really portray it as not just a bank, but as a tech company. So it's just Wall Street as well, just manipulating SoFi, not necessarily always with the share price, but just being how they see SoFi. So it's one of those weird things, but in reality, SoFi just keeps needing to hit home run earnings, and eventually Wall Street will kind of warm up to SoFi being a fintech, and as well at the same time, shorts will kind of hopefully admit defeat. But right now, shorts are increasing 1.74 million shares. 17.41% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 180.75 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 61.49, short score 72.89. And this is what I'm talking about, how shorts decided. If you kind of look at the timing, pretty much they increased almost about 3.5 million shares just within this kind of 5-minute mark. So they're the one that kickstarted all of this downtrend. Of course, at the same time, like I said, the market was somewhat negative, so I think that's where it took SoFi a little bit further. So yeah, it's a very unfortunate circumstance, so we'll just have to wait and see. One thing that has really made me question things, well, not question, but you guys get what I'm saying, it's the fact that there's been no analyst ratings. So popping over to IBKR, which gets their information from TipRanks, there's been nothing. So it shows the last rating was done yesterday by JP Morgan, $9 price target. So it's kind of a weird scenario. So I did pop over to TipRanks itself just to kind of take a look, and yeah, it shows absolutely nothing from today. So I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see what comes tomorrow associated to this. And in the past, at least, any bullish ratings just get brushed under the rug. Negative ones are the kind of scary crap. So again, we'll just have to wait and see what comes tomorrow as a byproduct of that, and just what a lot of, I guess, articles are going to say about SoFi's earnings. Looking at options though, a lot of money is getting in. 13 million in calls, 2.43 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 46% of all the options being done are optimistic and bullish, and $8 and $7.50 calls. Those chains are the kind of popular ones for today. So clearly people are anticipating some level of upside. This is the current open interest for SoFi's calls, because we already do know that is a very big resistance level brought on by options traders, manipulation, and all that other fun jazz. 6,000 at 650, 27,000 at 7, 41,000 at 750, and 92,000 at 8. So SoFi might struggle a little bit with 8, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. And hopefully tomorrow, with Powell being very optimistic, this is where you'll have a lot more institutions maybe buying, because again, typically leading into a decision rating, interest rate decision rating, there's a lot of volatility regardless. So today has just been a very unique circumstance. I'm not going to play this, it's about 5 minutes long, but obviously Anthony was on CNBC talking to good old Cramer, and I think Anthony is very well spoken once again, so I'll bring this up maybe in tomorrow's video or something like that just to highlight, but I think there's already a lot to digest for today. Right now with it at 7.33, still trading between these 2 points, so the R1 and R2, pretty much the exact same one as yesterday, so kind of a crazy stuff, but $7.21 will be a strong support, and then 7.50 will be that next strong resistance. And so yeah, I think in reality, SoFi is doing relatively good. It just is getting a lot of manipulation by just the broader market as well as shorts, but in reality, I can't be happier with these results. And again, the fact that they did raise Q3 guidance, earnings per share being 4 cents, 635 million for Q3. Very interesting when it comes down to that. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you guys do any options for SoFi? And if so, what strike price, what expiry date? Or have you just been buying actual stock itself? I was tempted to buy a little bit more right here, but I think at this stage, everything in the market was just bleeding. So I kind of was more hesitant. And plus, again, leading into Powell tomorrow, that could really cause a lot of volatility in either direction, depending on what he does say. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.